Hi guys, not gonna lie, this has been a trip trying to film this video. Almost feels like a sign because it's a video that I have been putting off filming for a very long time. I guess I'll preface it with this Friday, October 15th, I think that's when this is gonna go up, is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Day here in the US. And I am 1 in 4. I am one of those moms that has lost a pregnancy. And I have not wanted to talk about this. It's a really complicated and emotional story for me, obviously. So I've put off telling it for a long time. But I think now's the time. So right in front of me, I have a notebook with dates and HCG levels and little details. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm reading. Yeah, let's get into it. So if you haven't watched my full IUI story, my journey, I will link that down below. It just kind of gives you an overview of my journey. But basically, ignoring my half cycle, I did 6 cycles of IUI before getting pregnant with Harry, my almost 2-year-old. But that was not my first pregnancy. My first pregnancy was with my 4th round of IUI, which was in November of 2018. So over a year before Harry was born. Yeah. So my 4th round of IUI, the insemination, was on Monday, November 5th. And I remember this cycle, I just remember little tidbits of this super clearly. And I remember that this cycle, I had 3 ultrasounds for this cycle, 3 internal ultrasounds and blood works to watch the follicle growth. But it went very quickly. Like, I remember, this is a little TMI, but my period for that cycle was October 20th. And I just remember, like, it was boom, 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 boom. It went very, very quickly, which my cycles had never really gone that quickly before. Normally I had more than 3 ultrasounds, and I remember my 3rd ultrasound was on Sunday the 4th, and I went and got my flu shot that day. This doesn't relate, but it's just like a random thing I remember. And they had called me at work after the blood work, and they said, your levels look great. You're ready for the insemination tomorrow morning. So normally every other cycle I've had, there was a day between it. So there would be like, it would have been Sunday, they would call me, I would do the trigger Monday night, and I would go in on Tuesday. But that one, my body, my LH surge was happening. My body was just ready. I did still have to do the injection, but I don't know, we did the injection like that afternoon, and the next morning I had the insemination. And I remember feeling different immediately. Like, I always kind of tried to talk myself into feeling pregnant. For every round, I was like, oh yeah, this totally worked this time. I definitely feel pregnant. I'm sure that's implantation cramping, things like that. But I think it was by like Wednesday or Thursday, I felt very bloated. And I am not someone who ever has boob pain, except when I'm pregnant. Both of my pregnancies, that was like my earliest symptom. Actually, with Harry, it was different, but that's not the point. And I started having that pain fairly early, like before the 1 week post IUI mark. And I just remember that was really annoying and really weird and really different for me because I'd never experienced that before. And I remember just feeling very bloated. And as a plus size person, I don't feel bloated easily. I don't know if that's just me or if that's my size or what, but I don't tend to feel super bloated a lot or easily or anything like that. So that was really weird to me too. I felt so different. And I remember it was either the 13th or the 14th. We had the water heater in our house blow, like it went out and it flooded part of my apartment downstairs because I was still living in the basement. And I remember that day I had to do something with my car, and I was dealing with the plumber because I was home that day. And I just remember saying to my mom on the phone, this stress cannot be good for my baby. And she goes, you don't know you're pregnant. And I said, dude, I am. Like, I have to be. I feel it. And at that point, I just knew. Like, I don't know. And that was almost a full week before my blood work. So, I don't know. I knew it. Nothing could have convinced me otherwise. If the pregnancy test had been negative, I really don't know what I would have done because I knew I was pregnant. I felt pregnant. And lo and behold, on Monday, November 19th, and 19 is my lucky number, Monday, November 19th, I got my positive pregnancy test. So I went in for my blood work, and they do your HCG levels, and anything over a 5 is pregnant, technically pregnant. Ideally, at that point, that would be 4 weeks pregnant is the earliest you can test. At that point, they want your levels somewhere around 50. Mine that day were 18.74. So they were incredibly low. I remember the nurse said to me that day, we are going to be cautiously optimistic. Those were her words. She said it could be really late implantation, but we're going to be cautious. Treat yourself like you're pregnant, but know that this could be a chemical pregnancy. So we're going to have you come in 2 days on the 21st to get your blood done again. And if your levels have gone up, that's great. If they've doubled, that's ideal. That's what we want to see. If they've gone down, we're going to prepare for a chemical pregnancy, which I could be wrong, but my understanding of a chemical pregnancy is that it's a super early miscarriage before 5 weeks, that something implants, but it's like genetically wrong or something, and it doesn't last. And most women don't even know that they're pregnant with chemical pregnancies because you get your period. Like, it just is a little bit late. So the wrench that got thrown in here was that Thanksgiving was Thursday the 22nd. Yes, Thursday the 22nd that year. And my family lives in Pittsburgh and I'm in Boston. So we were getting up, my mom and I, at 3 a.m. to drive 10 hours straight to Pittsburgh. So I had to get my blood work done when I got to Pittsburgh that afternoon. How many times can I say that city in 1 minute? So I had to get my blood work done not at my fertility clinic, but at a lab. And I had it done. They said they were going to rush it. And then I get a call from the fertility clinic saying, did you get it done today? What's going on? I said, yep, I left them like an hour ago. What's up? And they're like, okay, well, at this point, we're closing for the holiday. You're not going to get your results till Friday the 23rd. So again, stay cautiously optimistic. Pretend you're pregnant. Act like you're pregnant. All of that. So I had told some of my family. You have to remember, I was 23 at the time. I was very young. This was the first positive I had ever gotten, and I was really optimistic because I felt pregnant. I felt the bloating, I felt the boob pain, and I felt nauseous. I had morning sickness, not actual vomiting, but like nausea all the time. It was so gross. And that's something I did not experience with Harry in my pregnancy with him. So it was very weird to me. At that point, I was like, but with the first baby I did, is like, there's something wrong with this baby. So it very much got in my head because I was so nauseous. And I told my 3 aunts and 2 female cousins at that point. And then on Thanksgiving night, one of my cousins was vaping next to me, and I didn't know how safe vaping was for a fetus. So I texted him and I was like, can you put your vape away? I'm pregnant. And he put it away, and his brother started teasing him across the table. He's like, oh, she didn't like you having it out, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what, it made you cough? And I said, no, I was worried for my baby because I'm pregnant. And that's how I told the rest of my family on Thanksgiving night while playing Cards Against Humanity with my cousins. Yeah, so that got interesting. So at that point, my whole family knows. On Friday, the 23rd, they called me, and my levels on the 21st had gone down. So the day I found out I was pregnant, they were at 18.74, which was already low. And 2 days later, they had gone down to 15 point something. Basically, I remember sitting in the hotel room, and when the nurse said that they had gone down, I just started crying. Because I still felt pregnant, and I wanted that baby so much. I just remember crying in that hotel. I cried so much that day. Then I had to go and tell everybody the truth, that I was not pregnant, that I was losing my baby. They told me in that phone call to expect to start bleeding anytime, that it would be like a period, maybe a little bit heavier, and that they were going to have me come in for blood work on Monday, the 26th. And I said to them, I'm still in Pittsburgh. I'm coming home that day. Can I come in on Tuesday? So we set it up for, I think it was like 7:30 on Tuesday, November 27th. I didn't start bleeding that day. I started bleeding the following day, Saturday the 24th. And it was like a very heavy period. It was very painful. I cried an awful lot. I remember, I think it broke my mom's heart. I remember looking at her eyes, and she put her head in her hands, and I think it made it sadder for me, knowing that not only did I lose my baby, but she lost her grandchild. And my mom has had a pregnancy loss as well. She lost my younger brother at 22 weeks pregnant. So she's definitely had it worse than I did. Thank God I didn't have to do that. But I think that must be hard for her too, to see me going through a pain that she had. And it's a pain I would never wish on my kids. I just remember every night after that phone call, I don't even know how long it went on. I cried myself to sleep every night. And some nights it was really bad. Some nights it was like screaming kind of tears. I remember the first night we came home after Thanksgiving in Pittsburgh. That night I came home and I obviously had been buying baby things for forever because I was doing IUI and I knew at some point I was going to get a baby. I hoped. And my room had a lot of baby decor. I had boxes of baby stuff. And I saw them. And sorry. So it was just a very weird situation. And then it gets worse. You don't think it can get worse, but it did. So on the 27th, when I went in, my levels had gone up. And I don't even have that written down, but they went somewhere to like 23, 22. I think it was 22.6 or something. And obviously that was baffling. And I remember I filmed some videos of myself talking to my camera because at that point, I think I've said this before, I thought about making a YouTube channel back when I was trying to get pregnant. So I would do little videos of myself and I did them from my memory too. And the video from the 27th, I can't watch all the way through to this day because I talk about the levels and then I just start crying and repeating, what does it mean? What does it mean that it's going up? Where is my baby? Because they had told me that the bleeding was the miscarriage. They told me to expect to bleed, that was the loss and it was over. And that on the 27th, my levels should have bottomed out. And if not totally bottomed out, then been really close. And for them to have been higher at 22 that day after I had spent the weekend bleeding, I didn't understand. And to this day, I get it, but I don't get it, if that makes any sense. So then they started having me come in so frequently. I'm just looking at all the dates. They had me come in 2 days later on the 29th of November, and my levels had gone up again to 31 point something. And at that point, they had me do blood and ultrasound. They did a 45-minute internal ultrasound. The ultrasound tech was searching and searching and searching. There was nothing in my uterus. There was no fetus. There was no sac. There was no nothing. But she couldn't locate my left ovary or my left tube. And she asked me if I had ever had a problem with them locating them. My left side specifically. My right she could find and it was fine. And I remember telling her no. I've never had a problem with someone finding my left side or my right side. But the follicle was on my left. I remember saying to her the follicle was 17 millimeters on my left ovary. And she just kept searching, and 45 minutes of an internal ultrasound. Sitting here thinking about it, I'm like, how did I live through that? That was so uncomfortable. And at times it was painful because she was like pushing to like try to find my ovary and my tube, and she couldn't find them. So that's when they started thinking maybe it was ectopic because it was a left-sided follicle and it was that ovary in that tube that couldn't be found. They thought maybe she couldn't find them because there was a mass in them. Maybe that's what was going on. So they brought me in a couple days later on December 3rd, 2018 for blood work, and no ultrasound, no more ultrasounds, just blood. And at that point, my levels were 46.46. So still pregnant, numbers are climbing. This whole time I'm feeling pregnancy symptoms. I'm feeling first trimester stuff. I am nauseous as all hell. I was getting so tired. I just remember feeling, so wiped. And at that point, I was working at a nonprofit that I had worked at for a number of years, and I was working nights. So I was working from noon to 8:30. And by the middle of my shift, I was wiped as a person. It was awful. So then after the 3rd, my doctor called me and he was like, I really think, I know we didn't find anything on the ultrasound, but I want to be safe. Your numbers are rising. We really don't know why. We want to rule out anything in the uterus before we assume it's ectopic. So I want to do a biopsy and a sweep. And I said yes, obviously. So they brought me in for blood and the sweep that day. My blood was at 58.6, my HCG level, so it's going up. There's Harry. He's just playing in the other room. And that day they did the biopsy, and it was my doctor, my mom holding my hand, and a nurse helping him in this very small ultrasound room. So he had, I don't think he had an ultrasound in. Honestly, that whole day is very much a blur. I just remember that the sweep was so uncomfortable, and he did it like 3 times. It was kind of painful, I'm not gonna lie. And I remember he did it 3 times, and I remember I'm squeezing my mom's hand, and she looks at the nurse and she says, it's a good thing men don't have to go through this, because we are so strong as women that we can handle anything, and men wouldn't be able to do this. I don't think those were her exact words, but that was kind of the gist of it. And the nurse was like, amen, and she was laughing, and they were trying to lighten the mood, and it really helped. I was laughing at that. And the doctor is the sweetest man, and he was like, you're right. It made a really uncomfortable and painful and sad situation easier, that ice breaking, and I think my mom is really good at that, and I learned that during this process, during both my pregnancies. But then the pathology report came back for this biopsy that there was nothing there. There was no fetal tissues, no sacs, no nothing. No cancer, nothing bad. And then they were like, okay, let's do one more blood work. Let's see if the pathology like made stuff move and caused a miscarriage, because obviously there's something in there that we aren't seeing. And on the 6th, I went in for blood work, so the next day, and my blood was at 72.27. So it had gone up again, and they decided we're going to assume it's an ectopic pregnancy. We haven't been able to find anything in the tube, but we also can't locate the tube, and nothing else is proving to end this. So we're going to do an injection of methotrexate. Don't ask me what methotrexate is. I don't even remember, but I just remember they didn't have it at the fertility clinic. It's a specialty fertility drug. I had to order it from a fertility pharmacy. So I placed the order, or they placed the order for me, and I had to pick it up the day of the injection. So my mom brought me there. I went in. Those people were so rude. Like, I don't know, they didn't have the order ready. They were like, you didn't tell us you were coming today. I said, I ordered this, 2 days ago, or the day before, and they said they wanted it today. They had to go get it. They were just very rude to me, which did not make this situation easier. And they gave me the Methotrexate. I brought it to the fertility clinic, the same one where my insemination was. And I just had this big brown bag, or box. I think it was a bag. And they brought me back, and they brought me a different way than they do with the inseminations. Like, there's 2 doors to those hallways, and one takes you to like where the inseminations are, and the other one took me through like a little bit of an office and to an exam room. And the nurse took me in, and there was another nurse in the room, and they had me just pull down my pants to like my butt crack, basically, just to my bottom. And they confirmed my weight because it's weight-based. They each had a needle and syringe, and they filled it. They each had half, and they put one in each side of the top of my butt. Kind of like right below where your kidneys are. And they did it at the same time, and they just did an injection on each side. And they told me that there was going to be some cramping, and I would probably start bleeding again. In all honesty, this whole time I was having spotting. From the day I started bleeding on November 24th, I had off and on bleeding the whole of this pregnancy. So we did the injection. I went home and slept. The cramps were pretty bad. I don't remember them being extreme or anything, but they weren't comfortable. They were very similar to my PCOS level period cramps. There was blood. It didn't stop. And they had me come in 4 days later, so that was December 7th. On December 11th, they had me come in and do my blood work again. And it had gone up. It reached its height this day. So this was December 11th. I was at 126.8 was my level, my HCG level. And I just bawled my eyes out. I was so scared that they were gonna have to remove my tube and or my ovary. And I was so scared. These levels were going up. It almost felt like when you play a video game or you do something on your computer and there's a glitch. I'm just thinking, I used to play The Sims a lot when I was younger, and sometimes you get like a weird glitch and you have to like reset the sim. And to me, it felt so weird. It felt like there's no way to reset me. There's no way to fix this. These levels are just gonna keep climbing, and I'm not pregnant. I'm not gonna have this baby. It felt like a nightmare. It felt like a living nightmare. And no one really had a reasoning or an answer for this. And everyone at the fertility clinic was amazing. They were so nice. They were so sweet. But I think it was kind of weird to them too. And that was really hard. So they brought me in every couple of days. They brought me in on the 13th, and my levels had started to go down. This was the first time since November they had gone down, and they went from 126 to 95. So that was a big drop. They said that was really great. They said, let's come in a couple more days and check it again. So I came in on December 21st. So from the 13th to the 21st, which was just over a week, and they had gone down to 28. So that was a huge plummet. We were feeling really good about it. I still kind of felt pregnant, but the symptoms were definitely going away. That was really hard. It's such a double-edged sword because when my HCG levels were climbing, I was having all these pregnancy symptoms, but I wasn't pregnant, and I mentally knew that. And that was heartbreaking, knowing I was feeling all the things I was supposed to feel being pregnant, and yet I wasn't getting the result that I wanted. There was no baby, there was no hope. And then after the injection, when my levels started going down and the symptoms started going away, that was really hard because it felt like there really was no baby. You know, when you feel the symptoms, it's really easy to convince yourself that maybe all of this is wrong and maybe there is a baby. Because this was a presumed ectopic and presumably therefore there actually was a fetus, a baby growing in my tube, that the methotrexate injection ended. I do feel that baby in my heart. I personally, from the beginning of that pregnancy, felt like I was having a boy. Like, as soon as I thought I was pregnant. And I did name that baby. His name is Jude. I don't know, I'm telling this kind of out of order. I'll get back to what I was saying. Sorry, that's my refrigerator. I'm filming in my kitchen because Harry's playing in the other room. So on the 21st, my level was 28. A week later, on December 28th, my levels had gone down to a 4. Single digits, a 4. And they said, that's awesome. Under 5 means you're technically not pregnant. We want to test them again to make sure it goes down. By the 1st or the 2nd, it should bottom out. So let's have you come in on the 2nd. So I had gone in on January 2nd and my level was still at a 3. But they said, you're not doing a cycle in January anyway. You have to have another period. So we'll just test your level again before you do a cycle. So at the end of January, on the 30th, actually, that was day 3 of that period. And they did my levels and I was at 0. I had bottomed out. It was all over. But, you know, this went from the insemination on November 5th, 2018 to technically I didn't have a 0 level HCG until January 30th, 2019. This was an almost 3-month process of my life. And it was really hard. And like I said, I personally, I feel that baby in my heart and I feel that loss to this day. It's been 2 years. I still pause on Jude's due date. He would have been due on July 31st, 2019. I've actually had people comment on my rings in videos. I had somebody very weirdly comment that he couldn't take me seriously as a single mom when I had a ring on my finger. So I just want to show you, if my camera will focus. I don't know that it will. So this is my birthstone. It's an emerald. This is Harry's birthstone. It's a blue zircon. Wow, that is really not focusing. And then this band in the middle, it's really hard to see, but I'll take a picture of it and insert it. It has a little heart with angel wings. So because Jude obviously doesn't have a birthstone, I found this ring on Etsy, and if I can find the seller, I will definitely link it, because this ring is 2 years old. I've worn it every day since I got it in January of 2019. Literally have worn it every day, except for the day of my egg retrieval, because I couldn't wear jewelry. And it's in great shape. It's like, this was like a $20 ring maybe, and it's in great shape. There's no discoloration, no tarnish. It fits great. So yeah, when you see my rings in photos or pictures or videos, it's my birthstone, Harry's birthstone, and baby Jude's ring. And to me, you know, I did a couple different things for Jude. So I wear that ring for him, just like I wear my ring for Harry. And I also got a tattoo for him, which I will also insert a picture of this. It's a heart with an infinity symbol in it, and the infinity symbol is filled with pink and blue, because even though I feel like he was a boy, I will never know. And the awareness ribbon color for pregnancy and infant loss is blue and pink. And to me, this tattoo means love you forever. Like the book, love you forever, like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. So to me, that's what this tattoo means. Because that was my first baby. And having then gone on and had a successful IUI 2 cycles later, and having Harry, and then having my egg retrieval in December. I'll also link that video if you'd like to watch that. And knowing that I have created 9 more human beings, 7 of whom were healthy. It's very weird for me, and this tattoo to me doesn't just symbolize Jude, it also symbolizes those 2 embryos that I have that are abnormal, that I will never get to meet. I did name them as well. Their names are Brooks and Clementine. So I have 3 babies that sit on my heart and not in my arms. I don't know that the 2 embryos really count for pregnancy and infant loss, but to me they're souls, and they're people that I created, that I love, that unfortunately the universe said that I don't get to hold. And that's really hard as a mom, as a person, to love all of them, but you know, Jude especially, because I carried him in my body, and I cried for him so much. I love them as much as I love Harry, as much as I love the other 7 embryos that are sitting in a freezer right now. They're my kids in all the same ways. They all sit on my heart. Their names are engraved there forever. And I know any other mom who is a 1 in 4 who has experienced the loss of her baby at any time, any stage. I know you understand what I mean. That I may have a baby here to hold in my arms, but Harry will never replace Jude or Brooks or Clementine. He is just an equal part of my heart. And he definitely He makes life easier. He makes dealing with the pain and the grief easier, because there are still days that I lie awake and cry for the little boy that I will never meet, and for the 2 embryos that I will never carry or birth or hold. There's a piece of my heart that will always belong to them. And without rambling too much, because I feel like I'm definitely getting to that point and I'm just getting sad, I will never be the same person I was before that pregnancy. No matter how many healthy, happy, perfect babies that I give birth to, I will always hold a place for Jude. I will always wear him on my finger and wear him on my heart, and he will always be someone that I love forever and for always. He's always my baby. Normally, I would ask that you share your experiences in the comments, but I know that pregnancy loss and infant loss are very sensitive topics, very hard topics. If you want to share your story, I would love to hear it and be a support for you. This was not an easy video to film. It's not easy to talk about. Obviously, we live in a society where this is still a topic people aren't comfortable with. I think it's getting a lot better. I think people speaking out have really helped. And I hope that me sharing this story does help someone. But it's still a hard topic, because nobody wants to talk about losing a baby. No one wants to lose one, and I wouldn't wish this pain on my greatest enemy. So if you are 1 in 4, know that I love you and I support you, and I'm here for you if you need me, because it's not a club you want to belong to. Okay, I'm gonna go, because this has been a very long video and I've been kind of rambly at the end, and I'm really sorry. All right, I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.